Hello, everyone. This is KE7VLC. Of course, the microphone gets in my way, doesn't it? All right. Anyways, we're here for the virtual meeting for August 27th, and we've got a couple things we're going to talk about tonight, and I really wanted to kind of introduce a new member. Hasn't been around much, very long. His name is Kodiak. Look at him. Say hi to the camera. Hi, everyone. He doesn't want to. He's shy. Yep, this is Kodiak. You'll be seeing a lot more of him as time progresses. And he's doing pretty good, I think. Of course, he's still new to all this. He's like, who in the world are you talking to? You goofy dog. Yeah, goofy owner. My goofy owner. Yeah. Alright, let's go in your crate for a little while, okay? Alright. I love you too, bud. Alright. Just lay down. You're good. Alright. Now we got Kodiak done up and all the interviews done there. Yeah, you just lay down and behave, okay? Yep. Good boy. So tonight's meeting, we're going to talk a little bit about, we did have a camping trip. Unfortunately, camping trip got canceled. It was mostly, Frank was having a little bit of car problems. And then we had one other member who just had surgery just recently. And he just wasn't feeling up to being with us. And then on top of that, everybody heard about my dog, Sky, passing away. And, unfortunately, that's the life of dogs. Everybody knows that Sky and I were basically one and together. It was a very difficult decision. I miss him. He will be missed, I think, with all the club members and everything. And I appreciate everybody commenting on Facebook and everything. So thank you guys. Sky was definitely a good dog.
He definitely was.
I don't think that there was a single person out there that didn't like him. Yes, Joanne, out in the forest. We're out in the forest. Wish we were, actually. Anyways, we've got quite a few things coming up. I believe. Oh shoot, and I don't have the date down, and Dennis just brought it up. So hold on one second here. QSO party. I got to find out when the Arizona QSO party is. I want to say it's the Arizona QSO party is October 12th and the 13th. So we're going to do, that's going to be our next camp out. Arizona QSO party's always been kind of fun to do anyways. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to go up to timber camp this year for it. It all depends on the temperature.
Yeah.
If the temperature up on the rim is actually doing fairly decent, I think we'll try there, but it might be actually a little bit on the chilly side, but we'll see. Oh, relax, Cody. You're okay, bud. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. You're gonna have to. We might have a little whiny dog in the background, but he sounds like he's gonna settle down. It's almost bedtime for us, anyway, so he'll chill out here in a little bit. Anyways, October 12th. Yes, October 12th, and Joanne asked, Dennis, do you ever smile?
Not much.
Okay, not much. So, Joanne, that's a good, great question. Oh, goofy guy. I like Dennis. Dennis has been with the club for quite a while. I think he's been pretty much one of the founding guys with us. So.
I think you were around about a year before I found you.
Yeah. Anyways, Dennis is a great guy. If you want to talk about antennas, antenna design, this is the guy to go to. He experiments around with antennas all the time. Of course, I think that's because you're what, a trillionaire or something like that, and you don't have a job to go to anymore, and
Something like that.
something like that.
I
Okay.
got a lot of time on my hands.
Anyways, he has a lot more time than I do. Unfortunately, I kind of wish I didn't have a job to go to, so I could sit around and goof off and try new things. But I know that whenever I get a chance, I try. So, anyways, if you have antenna questions, Dennis is definitely a pretty good wealth of information. Not saying that I can't muddle through a lot of the antenna designs, and we are going to talk about some material that's going to help you tonight. And this was kind of it was I'll admit it was kind of a last minute decision, but I think it's a really good topic, and I was going to actually do a couple series of videos on a couple of these books that I'm going to bring up tonight. I had one in the works, but I'll just go right ahead and cancel that, and we'll talk about a couple of the different books tonight. So October 12th and 13th is our next camping trip, and I hope that everybody can attend. So keep your eyes to our website. Again, here's our website here, Mesa Amateur Radio Club, WM7RC.org. Whiskey Mike 7 Romeo Charlie.org. I think it's we try to keep this up to date, so we'll be posting a lot of different articles and stuff. There's going to be I know Chad's been trying to get some stuff up here. I know Frank has got a couple ideas on a couple different videos that he wants to do. At our next camp out, we're definitely going to be talking about WinLink. We tried WinLink for field day, and quite honestly, I think it was a success. I got 10 messages sent out. Yeah, it took a long time to send 10 messages out. But at the same time, I'm going to claim success. I've been trying WinLink, and I've never been able to do it. So it's one of those where it's like, shoot, I really like it. I'm an IT person anyway, so, email's right up my alley anyways. So I don't know. There's been a couple other people that have tried WinLink with our group, and I don't know if they've been very successful. I think Frank has been able to send 1 or 2 messages, but I've just never been able to actually accomplish it. So it's going to be a goal for me at this next camp out, is to try to at least send 1 message from my radio and my gear. With that, let's see here. September is an actual physical meetup. I haven't got a topic to talk about there, but I was actually thinking we might build an antenna. I'm not 100% sure. I was thinking a dipole antenna again, depending on if I could get the wire and everything all ready and together there. And then November is a physical meeting. We will have a virtual meeting in October, sometime after Arizona QSO party. And for those of you who have never done an a QSO party at all, essentially what it is each state is pretty much divided up among counties and stuff. And what they try to do is they try to get every single county within the state activated. And when I mean by activated, I mean having somebody there actually, transmitting, and from within that county or something like that. And basically the goal is for everybody in the country to try to contact every single county in that specific state. And I know that we have been kind of elusive where we've always camped up at Timber Camp, because we're down in that little valley there, and we don't really get out all that very well, especially with wire antennas and 100 watts. But I kind of like the challenge. I kind of like being a little bit very elusive. You guys kind of have to hunt and find us. Kind of enjoy it. So that's going to be our next what is it? Next camp out. What was the next thing that I wanted to talk about? I think that was pretty much it. Um, so we do apologize about the camping trip just this past weekend. Um, it's always better to play it safe. Um, let's see here. Okay. Well, Frank apparently recorded a video today, except it was on repairing a car's digital cluster. But hey, it's great soldering. Frank. He's out there tinkering with his cars. You should see his shop setup. He's got a really nice shop set up right now. So he does a lot of woodwork. For those of you who haven't been following along with Frank, he's been building cabinets for his house. And quite honestly, I'll have to say kudos to you, uh, Frank, for actually doing something like that. That's a big task right there. I've never,
Hard.
it's hard. Cabinets are not easy to build. So, and yes, this is a Mesa Amateur Radio Club mug. It's a 20-ounce one, and so I got my beverage of choice tonight, which is coffee right now. So, anyways, I wanted to give a shout out to Frank. We'll get that video posted up to the YouTube channel. One of these days, I'll have to sit down with Frank and figure out exactly when we're going to want to do that. But I definitely want to get that video up, even though it doesn't really have anything to do with ham radio. It's got some stuff to do with soldering. And a lot of what our hobby does is a lot of soldering and electrical work. So I think it'll definitely be a good bonus for our video session. Don't forget to check out our videos on our YouTube channel. I just posted one on the QST and CQ magazines. I was trying to do a little bit of a review on the magazines to kind of give people an idea of, okay, well, which one would I prefer? I don't know. I prefer the CQ magazine over the QST magazine. Nothing against the ARRL, but the CQ magazine, to me, the articles are a lot more beefier and.
I think they're simpler.
Okay.
Than the QST.
Than the QST.
Some of their stuff's pretty tough to do.
Okay. The other one that I want to try to do is the QEX magazine, so I'll probably get a subscription to it. I think it's a bi-monthly, every 2 months.
It comes out every other month. I had it for a while.
Did you?
I didn't find much in it that I could do.
No. I was going to give it a shot and see. I admire an organization such as the ARRL who has these, products and stuff of that nature and tries to get information out there to hams, especially for new hams. We've got the French thing going on. That's France is trying to basically buddy up with the amateurs to use the 2-meter frequency over there, and the way to get our voice out there in the international realm is by joining the ARRL. So kudos to the ARRL. I don't want to make this sound too much like a commercial. We're not sponsored by the ARRL. We're not being paid by the ARRL. But the ARRL is a big part of our hobby, and if we can kind of contribute and shout out to them, I'll definitely do that. Let's see here. Virgil's on there right now. K7VZ, a really great guy. Tried to run for the Arizona's president. And just barely lost. I mean, not by much. Virgil's out there. He definitely makes a big splash out there, and I really like Virgil. He's a really great guy. Nothing against Rick or anything like that. Rick's a pretty good guy. And so it's kind of a toss up. I know Virgil. I don't really know Rick too well. So but so I want to say put a big shout out there to Virgil because he does a really good job. He's our public information officer for the Arizona ARRL member, and he does a really good job of that. and that's not an easy job to do.
No.
So kudos to him for wanting to do that and having the desire to do that. So thank you. And we got quite a few people here tonight. Yeah, we got Frank's there, Virgil's there, Out West Outdoors. Well, Phil, I hang out mostly on let's see here, the Arizona, the Metro Link is typically where I hang out. Although I haven't been on the air quite a bit lately. I've actually taken part of my radio out of my car, and I've got to redo my antenna, my mag mount antenna. I've got to redo the connector for it, and my working hours are kind of weird because I go to work at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and then I drive home at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there really isn't too many people out there. Yeah. So if I act like I'm really kind of wired tonight, it's because I've been drinking a little bit of coffee. I typically go to bed here in about probably in about 45 minutes or so. I usually hit the hay. So and then I get up at like 1:30 in the morning. So I Well, AZ Moto Rider, shout out to you. The main reason he belongs to the ARRL is because they work to protect our frequencies. So W7BY, I definitely appreciate that because that's exactly the reason why I joined the ARRL myself. They protect our frequencies, and in this case here, the ARRL is actually going to be trying to fight for France's 2-meter, I should say Europe's 2-meter. Because it's not going to just affect just France, it's going to be affecting everybody in Europe. So, the ARRL does a really good job of that. And they work their butts off for it. So, all right, so let's talk about, there are certain things that new hams, or even us older hams, should have on our bookshelf at home.
Yes.
And we've got quite a few collection between Dennis and myself. We got quite a few books here. And I'm not going to... None of these are in specific order as into, okay, you definitely have to have this one and definitely need to have this one, or this one you can bypass or something of that nature. A lot of these are reference books, and it'll give you some really great ideas. So let's switch over to our trusty dusty computer here. Okay, I'm gonna enlarge this. This is for those of you who are kind of curious as to what kind of HF contests are out there. This here, contestcalendar.com, is a great website. I just pulled up just the state QSO parties because it tells all the different QSO parties. All 50 states, including, I think it does it do Washington, D.C.? I thought the Washington, D.C. was under different, yeah, it's not even listed here. One of the ones that I kind of enjoy doing is the Washington State Salmon Run. They have some prizes that include actually wild-caught salmon. If you're really, really good on doing a little bit of contest, you can come over and do the Washington State Salmon Run. That's always a fun one to do. And then there's the 7th call sign area, or 7th, I guess. Well, it's basically all of 7 land. So it includes, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, and I believe Arizona and a couple other states. And that one's always a pretty interesting one. But if you're ever trying to go for a worked all states and you're interested in trying to get a specific, let's say Kansas, for example. Kansas is eluding you in order to get your worked all states. These QSO parties are a great time to jump on the air and try to grab a state that you're missing. Alaska... I always thought Alaska was kind of elusive at it, but they don't have a QSO party because they're on their own little separate little. They're actually out of the whole entire area. But every now and then Alaska comes in and does a really good strong. They've got a couple good contest stations up there, including one up near North Pole. I don't think it's out of North Pole. I think it's out of Northway, which is southwest of Fairbanks, Alaska. Um, but you can come in here and you could do an 8-day calendar if you want to see exactly what contests are going on for the next 8 days. You can select that. There's the 12-month calendar. I always come in here and look at the 12-month, and it starts at the month that it was, and then it continues on. So, it's got quite a few different contests that are going on. The next one that I recommend especially for new hams, is where is it? It is the ARRL's. Well, there's the September VHF contest, but there is, if I can remember right. Oh, where did it go? I know. Or is it in October? I thought it was in September. Anyway, there's a sweepstakes that is coming up, and if I can find it here, unless Virgil or anybody knows, let's see here. There's the VHF. I could have sworn that it was in September, and I'm not seeing it, so it must be in October. Virgil might know, and if he knows, go ahead and give a shout out there. There's the Arizona QSO party. I could have sworn that there was an ARRL sweepstakes that was coming up, and that one's always a fun one for, especially if you're just starting out on HF. Then there's the CQ Worldwide DX contest for single sideband, which is October 26th. Unfortunately, that weekend I'm going to be busy doing something else. Otherwise, we would be doing this contest here, and that one's a fun one. Anyways, that's wasn't really the topic tonight. November sweepstakes. You know what? I believe you are correct. Okay, you know what? Appreciate it, you guys. Virgil. Holy cow! Thank you guys. It's in November. That's when it is. Okay. For some strange reason, I was thinking it was October or late September. They've got the CW contest. And then later on, they've got here it is, ARRL Sweepstakes Contest, which is November 16th. It's a fairly easy one to get to do. Not really too big on the rules. The ones that always get me are the sprints, because it's like you have to get on the frequency, and then as soon as you make a contact, you have to give up the the frequency and move to a different frequency, and there's a little bit of rules that you have to think about, and that one gets a little more complicated. But the sweepstakes one is actually quite fun, because they've got it all divided up into all the different sections, and you can even order a pin to or a coffee cup or something like that. So that's always a fun one to do. Okay, and Virgil says the CQWW, the DX is great for picking up countries, and I definitely agree right there. If you are looking for, because it's worldwide, it's not just the United States or something like that. If you're looking to try to get Europe or Russia or something like that, the worldwide DX contest is actually a lot of fun. And it really is. You just have to, really concentrate on trying to, especially at nighttime, trying to make those contacts on 80 meters and maybe even 160. That's always a fun thing. So if you're looking for an HF, an excuse to get on HF, or you're just trying to do, some worked all states or get some more countries in your books or something like that, definitely go for some of these. So let's talk about some of the books that we recommend you put on your bookshelf. I'm going to start off with, and we'll go full camera for this one here, is the repeater directory. Obviously, this book is green, so it's gonna pick up all my. It's gonna blend in with my background, and this one's old, 2008, 2009. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, you can go to the repeater stuff online. You can even download the app and everything. But you might be going through an area where you may not have internet. And if you throw one of these in your, even this one's still fairly decent. If you toss this in the glove compartment or, in one of those little cup holders in the side of your door or something like that, I definitely recommend you pick one of these up. They're fairly cheap. This one was $11 back in 2008. So, I picked one up because I already knew the website to go to, but I wanted it for my vehicle. And it goes through all 50 states. And I used to do a lot of driving, not so much anymore. And that thing actually has come in use quite a few times. So let's see here. Oh, let's do the handbook.
Yeah, I got one too.
All right. So I love this one here. This is probably one of my favorites, and you can actually pick these up at Hamfests. And I'm thinking that we might actually, for our club, we might actually buy one and do a raffle for it or something like that. Not too sure just yet. We're still talking about what we're gonna do. But this one, again, this is 2006, so it's an older one. But the information in this is still good. So it's not like the antenna designs back in 2006 that are in this book are horrible and they don't work, or now in 2019. And yep, so we got one right here.
100-year anniversary one.
Ooh, oh yeah. Well, this is the 91st edition. Yeah. Yep, ARRL Centennial, gold leafed. I think it's real gold. No, hardbound. Yeah, they are slightly expensive, but quite honestly, like I said, the information in these books, it doesn't go old. Most of this, most of the stuff that's in here are probably stuff that's way back in 70s and 80s and maybe even earlier than that. So don't ever, if you pass one up, if you see one at like a Hamfest or something like that, and you're contemplating it, if it's just a few bucks or something like that. I mean, now if they're trying to sell it for something like $200, I'd probably turn it down. But I mean, this book here in 2006 was $40, and we'll look. Matter of fact, the ARRL handbook 2020 soft cover right now is going for $50 on the ARRL's website right now. So the information doesn't go old, and more than likely the information that's in here is also probably in the 2020 book. They probably updated and added a couple more sections to it, but overall the information doesn't go old. So
yeah, and you can get they got a second edition where it's all broken down in subjects.
By subjects?
5 books.
Okay.
In one thing. That's pretty good.
Yep. Matter of fact, we'll be looking at that. Looks like they got the antenna book broken down just like that too. So, matter of fact, I'll just pull that up right now. Here, let me do Control++, so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. This is on the ARRL's website. And all you have to do is basically come up here to the ARRL store, and then you can look for all their different products that they have. But here's the antenna book box set. Now this one's $65, but the antennas in here have been around for I don't know how long. It's been quite a bit.
It saves time when you're looking for one particular thing. You can just pull out that one book.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to. You can. I don't know exactly how they're divided, but I bet you they're divided by vertical antennas and horizontal antennas and VHF antennas or something like that. So they're definitely a. Here's the handbook in 6-volume set, 6 soft cover volumes in one. It's for about $60, so that's not too bad for 6 volume. And instead of carrying around this huge heavy book, they're going to be a little bit thinner, and they're going to be divided up by the subjects. So that's actually pretty decent itself.
And you can download them
Oh,
electronically, each individual book. I've seen that.
okay. And Out West Outdoors there says look on eBay between $5 and $15 for some of the older versions. So there you go. eBay is another good place to go. Some of the estates for hams, if you get lucky and you go out to Sun City or something like that, and they're somebody's selling their um, ex-husband's ham radio equipment or something like that. You you might be able to pick one up for fairly decent. The book that I was going to actually do an actual video on, we'll go ahead and flip back over to the full video camera, is the operating manual. I got this primarily because I wanted to learn about how to be a proper operator, and they have quite a few different articles in here. They even talk about the ADIF log file format. They talk about classic awards, how to go for your awards and stuff. But they also talk about like search and rescue, accidents, hospital communications. They do talk about APRS, packet radio. This is some really good information in here. And it talks about all the different situations that you're going to be in. It slowly starts by talking about, okay, here's what a proper station should look like. All the different types of equipment. Something like this right here. That's good information, especially for new hams who might not necessarily know all this information. They may be sitting there going, well, what do I need? And it just goes through some of the basic operating procedures. They even have a band plan in here, although, quite honestly,
it's a bit dated.
It's a bit dated. This one in here was from 2016, but it gives you a general idea of what the band plan looks like. Our band plan doesn't really change all that much.
Yeah.
Once they start adding technicians to the HF frequencies, then we'll probably have a little bit of a band plan change. But most of the time, band plan doesn't really change all that much. They talk about the phonetic alphabet, correct CW procedures and CW operating. One of the things that I would love to get into if I had the time. But they talk about all the different digital stuff. So, this is a good, if you're ever just sitting around and wanting to figure out exactly what you need to do, or how something is actually done. This is actually a fairly decent book here. So I'm not gonna say that this is a bad book. I definitely recommend you at least look at it, but it may or may not want to be on your bookshelf. So depending, and that's all dependent on you yourself. The next one, this is one that I actually bought a while back because I knew antennas were the key to a station, but I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars on an antenna or something like that. And I got into the hobby for emergency communications, but I quickly learned that there's a lot more to this hobby than just being on the air and pressing the push to talk. There's a lot of construction stuff that you can do. And one of them is the wire antenna. This one's the classic one, so it's got a lot of like 160 and 80 meter antennas. They're talking about let's see here. This is for the care and feeding of an amateur's favorite antenna support, the tree. It talks about how to properly, how to go through different trees and how to properly eye bolt them through trees and stuff of that nature, and how to tie them down. They got an easy launcher in here. It's just basically a slingshot with a Zebco reel on the end of it,
Yeah.
So but they also do talk about 75 meter DX antenna. half slopers. They talk about muxons and array antennas. So, I you know this antenna, this book right here, the antenna book is one of my favorites. Um, just because I like to build antennas, I enjoy doing it. So, um, and this would be good too if you're a prepper, if you're into prepping or something like that. This right here would be a great book to have on your shelf for a disaster or something of that nature, and you need to quickly build an antenna, or you want to know how to build an antenna, or look at which antenna would be the best. They even talk about building your own traps in here. So, let's see here, right there, dual frequency antenna traps. That looks fairly simple. If you look at that, I think that's pretty simple. I mean, looks like coax wrapped around a PVC pipe,
Yeah,
So,
that's it.
um, so again, this is a good pickup. Let's see here. What else do you have? Do you have anything else?
I dropped some off and they fell off the seat.
Uh-oh.
I don't have all of them.
All of them? Okay.
I can go out and get them.
That's all right.
I do have, for people who are interested in low frequency.
Oh, here's oh, sweet. This came from looks like the Great Britain.
Yeah, I like some of their books.
Great Britain. Ooh, this is intriguing.
That's for the 630 and 472 frequencies.
So LOF today, and I do apologize. The book is green, and I have green screen going on, so it blends in with the background. But and that came from Great Britain. So this is something over the pond there.
I was recently over there too, and I was listening on one of my radios.
Yeah.
And it's very active, those two frequencies.
Oh, nice.
Lots of people are on it.
Oh boy.
I couldn't. It was all digital, so I didn't know.
You didn't know what was going on, but
they were full. I mean, there are people really on there.
They talk
I don't
about
hear that here.
Yeah, on the low frequencies. Yeah.
They're making use of it over there. Of course, they got a lot of AM radio stations still down in that neck of the woods that they still use.
Okay.
You get a car radio in Europe, it's got some really funny frequencies on it.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a lot more books out there, and I'll flip over to the actual website here. I like their store. There's a lot of good stuff in here. The one book that I'm going to be getting soon is going to be, and let's see if it. Why is it not on the front? Oh boy. All right. Well, let's see here. Oh, this is what's new. So let's see. Oh, yep. Here it is, right here. Portable operating for the amateur radio. This is one that I'm going to be picking up soon. Probably along with maybe this SDR book over here. But you can get a lot of good ideas. My books. If you guys want to borrow one of my books, feel free to reach out to me and you can borrow one. But a lot of these, here's one on grounding and bonding. This one here, I would definitely recommend that all hams should have. I need to pick one up.
Especially for your house.
Yeah.
You got a station in your house.
Exactly. The FCC rules and regulations, you don't necessarily need to pick that up because it's free on the internet. You can always print off one if you want. The Doctor is In has a podcast. And I guess they've kind of converted it over to an actual a column for the magazine and everything. This guy is a wealth of information. Unfortunately, I think his podcast is a little too short. I think it's like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that. And to me, it's a little too short.
I haven't listened to him. So
you haven't? Okay. I wish he would go a lot longer and go a little bit more in depth. But, that's the way they operate over there, I guess. There is one here on the Raspberry Pi. Now, obviously, we're in the Raspberry Pi 4 realm now, so this is slightly out of date, but still a good information because Quite honestly, anything that can run on the Pi 2 can run on the Pi 4, so um, no big deal there. There's a lot of other stuff on here. You can get pins and patches. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here's the Great Britain RSGB books. These are a great radio amateur radio astronomy right here. That one would be kind of cool to. And
I think got that one.
Oh, see, Dennis has got.
Listen to Jupiter.
Oh, yeah, Jupiter puts out a lot of radio signals.
Oh boy, does it ever!
Oh boy, and we might have to string up a lot of antennas out there in the.
No, actually, it's 15 meters. Any 15-meter antenna will pick it up.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, there we go. We might just have to think about that. I definitely want to pick up one of these project books, and this is going to be something. And now that we're in the we're getting close to when Hamfests are going to go on. This is something that I'm going to start looking for, is a lot of these books, just for the club's library, but as well as mine. Come on, I got to have a couple of good books to read. You can only read the repeater directory so much before it gets it gets a little dry. But there's a couple good antennas in here that or books in here. I'm sorry, antennas. I'm antenna thinking right now. A couple really good books in here that talk about antennas and eliminating of electrical noise. That one right there, especially if you've got a station at home, this would probably be a really good book to have, just for the fun of it. Let's see here. They have other stuff. They have the apparel. Obviously, the field day shirt. I had to support that year. We had Rick come out and visit with us, and that was a great pleasure to actually get to finally meet him in person and everything. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff over here that you can get. They even have maps. I've got a map. I think I know where it's at, but it's a map of the world. And let me just click on this here. Let's go over here to the and I believe mine is, I think it's this one here. I believe it's this one.
Tells you where to point your antenna.
Yeah, basically it tells you exactly which way to point your antenna and everything. And I think we've brought that out with us camping a couple times, and it's actually come in handy a couple times, because you got to figure out exactly, well, where is that country in relation to us and everything. So I kind of like that one. The frequency charts you can always download. This one here, I think this one is a laminated one, I think. But if you want to pay for one or something like that, you feel free to get in here. Let's see here. Oh, here's the grid locator. That one's always useful, especially if you're doing VHF, UHF, and SOTA. The grid locator map is always nice. And they do have videos. I'm a little disappointed on some of their videos. Some of their videos are kind of on the older side, and I was kind of disappointed by a couple that I got. But they also have these de-expeditions that go into, what goes on behind the scenes of some of these de-expeditions, and that's kind of fun to watch. Kind of gets you a little bit of an idea of what goes on to do some of these de-expeditions. There's a lot more than just basically packing up a radio and heading overseas to a place. There's a lot of things like you got to get the appropriate licensing. You got to make sure you got transportation there. I think it was I want to say it was Bouvet Island or something like that down in the South Pacific that they've been trying to get to for the past couple of years, and have just been running into weather issues all the time and haven't been able to get out there. But some of these videos are kind of actually fascinating, what goes in on them. And a lot of this money actually goes to help support their future future goals as well. They do have some CDs and DVDs. I think here's the handbook. You can actually get it um, for your computer, which is actually kind of handy, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff at the bench. Probably be nice and handy there. Um, and then they've got all the periodicals, all the QST and QEX magazines and stuff in a digital format, so you can actually search for them and everything. So, don't discount that. There's other places you can get books and magazines at. Um, I think our library down here in Apache Junction has a couple books that I found. Um, but the ones that you really want to look for are some of the electronic books. Um, the electronics are a really good idea. I've got a couple electronic books. I've got one that's circuit design that I have sitting out in my garage. And I didn't bring it in, but I could have.
Like a big thick one?
Yeah, big thick one. And I mean, it's like, yeah, it it talks about all the different circuits. You might end up having to build a circuit one of these days or something like that, and you need to have at least a reference material in there. So, don't discount some of the Hamfest. So if you're coming along and you all of a sudden you look down and you see somebody selling a handbook or, some of these other books, pick one up.
Yeah.
Especially the handbooks. The handbooks are very, very useful. I like them. I pick mine up probably once or twice a month, and I just leaf through it until I find something that's interesting. And some of our topics are going to be coming out of the handbook, so we're going to have to be. I'm going to have to go through and take a look at some of this stuff. The one books that I definitely recommend are the nifty guides, especially the nifty guides for your particular radio. They come in a little bit of a spiral bound, and they give you like brief descriptions on how to do. Okay, like the FT70. This is how you program in the frequency or something like that. This is great for tossing in your vehicle, your go bag, because they're laminated, so they're not going to get destroyed by water or liquids or anything like that. And then that way you can keep the user manual back at your house and take something out there, because you don't want to be leafing through that user manual to try to find where it says to program it. These guides actually have it all listed out on the front of it, and tell you exactly which page. Okay, here's how you program it, and you just leaf over to that, and it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do it. I really like these nifty guides, especially for those of you who share your radio with somebody, say at an emergency or a public service event or something like that. A hurricane's coming through and you bring your radio out there. If you've got one of these nifty guides sitting right next to your radio, somebody who is not familiar with that radio can basically leaf through it and figure out how to utilize your radio to get it to do what it needs to do. So I highly recommend these. You could probably create your own.
The only problem is they don't have them here for every one model.
Yeah, true. They don't have every single model in here, so you kind of have to go through here and figure out. They do have IC 7300 here.
Yeah.
Some of the popular ones are going to have on here. The 897, 897D. But these are good little mini manuals that you can pick up. Here's the FT60 reference card. This is actually not too bad either. It's just a small little leaflet, probably about the size of size of a QSO card or something like that, and it's foldable, and you could tuck it in your your pocket or your backpack or something like that, and that way if you need to quickly reference it to figure out exactly what you need to do, it's a great little card. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I think this is the one. I think this is it. Some of these books, the biography of Hiram Percy Maxim. I haven't read this one. I'm thinking of the one for Tesla is the one that I was thinking of. But they've got quite a few different things. The Secret Wireless War. This is one that I would really like to pick up and read one day, um, especially if you're a World War II buff. You know, I think it'd be kind of interesting to hear about some of the story that hams played a part in World War II. And you know, there's quite a few of these books in here that actually are pretty cool books. I need to go in and you know, basically pull up some of these. I'm gonna have to write some of these down and see if we see them at a ham fest or something like that. So um, I like reading, guys. So I'm not gonna deny it. I do like reading. Sometimes you'll catch me with a book, sometimes you won't, and it depends on exactly what's going on. Now that I've got Kodiak, who's comfortably sleeping back there, um, my reading time is going to be somewhat limited, but we'll see what happens.
He'll get his licks in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, he's going to be a great dog. He already follows me around and everything. Oh, vintage radio. Let's see what's underneath vintage radio. Um, 50 years of amateur radio CD. Henson Kinks. Okay. Where discovery sparks imagination. Oh, some of this is actually pretty interesting. The early history of radio and electricity and the that would actually be pretty interesting. The world of keys, and we're not talking about house keys. We're talking about CW keys. I'm just gonna. I don't know. I've got this fascination with CW. I guess I'm just gonna have to, you know, just learn it one of these days. um, they do have instructor resources. I haven't jumped on here to try to grab any of this. I like the license manuals. I kind of like the W5YI license manuals myself, but the ARRL ones are actually pretty decent. I like. I think it's the. Oh, they don't. I don't think they have it anymore. See here. Oh, they don't. I don't think I see it anymore. There used to be, and maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm thinking of some other location or something like that. They used to have a book that, and these might actually be them. They really drilled down into the actual questions and as to exactly why the question or the answer is the answer for it. And maybe it's these that I'm just it just looks different since I'm an extra, so I haven't taken I haven't studied for another.
For you to go.
Yeah, I can't go any higher, unfortunately. But yeah, I like the license manuals. The W5YI ones are great for you know, quick study. You know, lunch hour break at work or something like that, or maybe a train ride or something. See here, what else is there? There's not really too much else. My recommendation is go through here and kind of explore. I don't want to get too in trouble, but I do want to kind of promote the ARRL a little bit because they are trying really hard to fight for our frequencies and for our you know, our hobby. With no voice, our hobby would be dead. We'd be all probably talking about needlepoint or crochet or no, geology.
Cell phone companies that suck them all up.
Yep, exactly. So we'd be probably talking about geology instead of you know. Speaking of which, you know, I saw some Apache tears the other day. I've got some Apache tears in my geology box out there. I do collect rocks every once in a while.
That explains a lot.
Anyways, you know, I recommend coming in here and picking stuff up. I'm okay. So QA is just the questions for quizzing yourself. Okay. Oh, so see, Virgil says he likes them much better now that they're spiral bound, and maybe that's the reason why I'm looking at them different. I didn't real. Okay, they do. They are spiral bound. Okay, maybe that's the reason why I'm looking at them like, what in the world's going on here? I agree right there. The spiral bound really works out really well. So kudos to whoever thought about that, because I like being able to flip it open and flip it open flat instead of having this weird bend in it and all this other stuff. So
We got to find something to prop them open.
yeah. So it's always a pain in the butt to do. So
It's milk from your cereal.
that sounds like you had a personal experience there.
Yeah, I've ruined a few bits.
Oh yeah. Um, let's see here. Here's the obviously whenever you join the ARRL, you're going to get the QST magazine. But here's the QEX magazine, and yeah, it's slightly on the expensive side, but from what I can tell, actually that's not too bad. $29, $30 for a 1 year subscription to it, which is basically six. That's actually not too bad. Anyway, they're let's see if actually it shows. This it is. Oh yeah, it's gonna be down here somewhere. Here we go. Yes. Here's a sample article from the QEX magazine. If it it comes up in a PDF. Let's see if it pulls up the PDF. Patterns and polarization, modestly sized loop antennas. So here's the free article of the month. You can actually come in here and actually look at this and print it out if you want. That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Not that I'm gonna use a loop antenna. I haven't had a need for a loop antenna. Although quite honestly, I live in an HOA, so I might want to start thinking about a loop antenna. That one actually might be pretty decent
just
to.
Put some flower pots on the outside of it, and nobody will know.
Nobody will know.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anyway, you can always come in here and sample their free sample article. Here's a receiver step attenuator, an unusual multiband whisper transmitter. You can come in here and look at their free sample article of the month, which I really like. QST does it as well. So if you're on the edge of whether or not you should get the membership and join the QST, they've got a free article of the month as well. So feel free to come in here and just start looking around. They've got a lot of good information, especially in the news and features. Obviously, Jamboree on the Air station. Didn't that just happen, or is it going to happen? October, here it is. Okay, so the Jamboree on the Air, don't forget October 18th through the 20th. For those of you involved in scouting, I highly recommend getting your Boy Scouts, Boy Scout group on the air. This is a fun event. I did this once or twice when I was going for when I was in Boy Scouts. This would have been in '88. I think it was '88, either '88 or '89. I did the Jamboree on the Air. We went over to somebody's house and we sat down and we each made a couple contacts. It was a lot of fun. I will have to say that I did enjoy it. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pass the CW testing. So it was a little difficult for me at the time. But I will have to say that scouting has done a lot trying to basically push and advertise amateur radio, so kudos to them. And don't forget, Hurricane Watch Net is going to be activating for Dorian, although quite honestly, Dorian's probably not going to turn into a hurricane just yet. Supposedly it'll probably bypass Puerto Rico as just a tropical storm, and then I think it's going to raise up to a hurricane, maybe a Category 1, and then it'll quickly die down back to a tropical storm. So this might end up changing or something like that. UN headquarters making slow but steady progress in returning on the air. United Nations Amateur Radio Club. That totally forgot that the UN headquarters had a amateur radio club.
They have it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've even thought about them. And they are doing a special event for the WWV and what is it? Is it WWO? It's the other one. Fort Collins, and then the one in Hawaii. They're basically doing a special event station for them. And then obviously France. Oh my gosh, the France aeronautical people. My gosh. Um, anyways, let's see here. What else? They do have a new So Now What podcast. I've listened to it a couple times. I thought it was actually pretty decent. Again, another short one. I really wish the AWL would, basically increase the length of them, but it might just have to do with who's doing it and stuff of that nature. But there is a podcast for new hams. Let's see here. Oh, Virgil is saying that the QST archives is worth the ARRL membership because the articles go way back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I need to get on here and actually start looking at some of these articles and start doing some of the. I believe the bandpass filters that we were looking at came from somewhere on the internet, and I actually found the actual article in the actual QST archives. So it's actually quite interesting to see. But even the bandpass filters still really great for nowadays. So let's see here. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about it. I think we're going to probably wrap it up here unless you got something, Dennis. Did you have anything?
No.
Okay. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button down below. I was hoping that I would see Vinny on the chat tonight, but I don't see him, so I don't know what's going on there. We were going to try to add him into the voice mix. He's been kind of wanting to do a lot of these virtual meetings with us, and he ends up sitting in the sideline chit-chatting with you guys on the chat, but he never ever gets to actually speak up and say something. And so we were going to try to bring him in. I know, it's not like Vinny. But I was going to try to get Frank on and Vinny on, and possibly even get Chad and maybe even Virgil once we get everything kind of ironed out and everything. Kudos to the ARRL. They're doing a really good job. At least from my own personal opinion, they're doing a good job. Could they do better? Yeah, they could do better. But the problem is they've got 800,000 hams that they're kind of the voice for.
And they have a new guy. He hasn't been there very long running it.
True.
He has to get up to speed.
Up to speed and everything. But the ARRL does a really good job of keeping this website up to date, and a lot of the news. The news is free, so come on in. If you're not a member of the ARRL and you want to see the news, feel free to drop in here and take a look at the news. Matter of fact, I think I get more of my amateur radio news from the ARRL rather than QRZ. Not that I don't trust the QRZ, but some of their stuff is kind of a little bit on the shaky side. I try to stay away from some of the forums just because of the big negativity that goes around, and it kind of makes me a little depressed sometimes.
And they repeat stuff over and over again.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, or any suggestions, if there's something that you guys want to see, I know that there was one person on Facebook that suggested that we do a video on, I want to say it was the FT2D or something like that, on how to set up the APERS on it. I don't have an FT2D, I think is what the person was asking about. I don't have one, so I would either have to find somebody and borrow one and learn how to use it, or I'd have to pony up like $400, $500 to buy one. And I don't know if that's going to be in my future right now. I've just got a new pup that I've got to take to get stay healthy and take the training classes, and then on top of that, I've got bills to pay, and so we'll have to see. I've got the FT70, and I've already done one video on the FT60 slash FT70 because they're somewhat similar. I really wish Yaesu had just basically did the exact same design as the FT60 and made it into the FT70 by adding digital to it. But
well, that new one they just brought out, it's got so much capability. I learned to use that for months.
Might even take a year to learn that. And I know that Chad just bought a new radio. I don't know what his comments or anything are on that. I'm trying to get him to do a basic review on it. So keep an eye on our YouTube channel because we're going to start doing a lot of these videos. Let's see here. What else? I think that was pretty much it. I think that sums it up. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing some stuff, and I'm going to be some of the stuff that we're going to be doing online. We're probably going to need some test subjects, some guinea pigs, so to speak. So we'll see what happens. So our next meeting is going to be in September, September 24th, 1830 to 2030. And that one's going to be down at the Mesa Utilities building. And let's see here, what else are we going to be doing?
Find out where we're going for the QSO party.
Yes, we will definitely be talking about the QSO party in the September fiscal meeting. So those of you who are planning on going to the QSO party with us, definitely show up to that meeting. We got to sit down and actually discuss where we want to go, because and we might hold off until like mid-September to see exactly what the temperatures are like up there. I know I went up there one Labor Day and it was kind of chilly and cold. But I went up there like the following year or something like that, and it was actually really nice. So,
yeah. The one year we were up there, and it got cold.
Oh yeah,
like 40 degrees.
Yeah, and that was at Timber Camp, I believe, wasn't it? Or was that up on the rim?
Actually, that was at the original place outside of Superior.
Oh, Oak Flats.
Oak Flats.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That one year, because it froze the dog's water bowls. So
you never know.
You never know on the temperatures. I mean, what was it? This year's winter field day was actually fairly decent. We didn't have any cold weather or anything like that. It didn't. But the year before, dog bowls froze over. We had water jugs. I don't want to sound like it was like, the water jugs froze solid or anything like that. Now, if we were in Alaska, yes, it would be, we couldn't keep water jugs outside, minus 80 or something like that. We couldn't definitely do. But it definitely gets cold down here. That's it's not something that you need to take lightly. The desert does get cold. Let's see here. Yeah. So Virgil says October can be really cold at night on the rim, but just fine during the daytime. So, we might have to think about that. Everybody keeps telling us we need to start doing more dispersed camping, and I totally agree. I think we need to, especially with all the increases that they're proposing for all the campgrounds that we go to.
Almost doubling the fees.
Oh, it was a lot more than that. It was like it was going up from $50 on the weekends for the Moki group campground all the way up to like $150 per day. And I was like going, no, thank you. So
we're poor. We don't need.
Yeah, it's not. We don't have dues. So, basically when we do this, it's basically, hey, listen, if you've got money, you want to contribute, please contribute. All the money that I collect, basically all the way up to the amount that I pay for the campground, I keep, and then after that, anything after that goes directly to the club's, treasury. And we don't have a huge treasury, so it's not like we've got this huge, $5,000 or $10,000 treasury. I mean, I think right now, we're sitting at $300. So, we don't have a whole lot, but we've got a couple bills that we got to pay. We got, the domain and, um,
Gotta keep the website up.
got to keep the website up and everything. Facebook is nice because it's free, but Facebook kind of gets a little convoluted at times. So, let's see here. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I think we're gonna keep this one short tonight. About 7:40, and I tend to be long-winded, so we've already gone for an hour and 10 minutes. Um, don't forget to keep an eye on the website and our Facebook page. So that's where we announce a lot of stuff. Feel free to comment. Let's see here. What else? If you have any suggestions or anything like that, you can always email me at Kilo Echo 7 Victor Lima Charlie at wm7rc.org, or go on to one of our Facebook pages and just make a comment in there, or even YouTube, because we keep track of that. So there's been quite a few good comments lately, and I want to keep those rolling. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Let us know what we need to do. So I'm going to say 73s unless somebody else has any other comments.
I don't.
Okay. Well,